Welcome to the Morgan Stevens Experience. I'm Morgan Stevens. This is my experience. This is my channel. And this is time for the Morgan Stevens Experience. Wowza.
Another flash of sadness kept burning in the sun, taken by a twist of hate for their malicious fun. A dark mirror reflecting on a minority, creating a vision of inferiority. Misinformation and game of deceit, playing the victim whilst being elite. Lost in the game of shame, but you haven't once found my dreams. I'll spend your life, and now I'm having fun. You've been played in a game of shade. Lost in the game of shade.
Hi, welcome to the show, and to my 100 viewers, original ones, welcome back. I'm going to be honest with you. I was in the middle of series 2 and I almost gave up because, let's face it, there was too much editing, there was too much problems. I had enough, I really did. And I was coming up with 2 new ideas for a deadline. I couldn't deal with it. It was too much, I've got to be honest with you. But since then, I've had people coming to me, and they've been coming all the time, and they've been saying, Morgan, well, they've been saying Stephen because they're not used to my name Morgan at the moment, but they've been saying, Stephen, we want the show back. And the thing is, I decided I'm going to bring it back, but I'm going to bring it back with a new format. The new format is scripted, so that's why every now and then you will see me looking down here, because I will be reading the script, but I will also be trying to make it ad-lib as well, so you know. Yeah, so it's not, hello, how are you today, kind of thing, that sort of stuff. So I've decided to do a new show. The format's going to be different. It's going to be, there's 2 other reasons. I don't want to waste my time editing, so it's going to be less sketches. I also, the world's a dangerous and horrible place at the moment. I think, although I want to entertain, I want to have fun, I think it's less time for comedy and silly gags. There's going to still be maybe a bit of Farmer Doomsday and Wayne Jane and Grant Binliner. They might come back, but at the moment, probably not. I'm going to be doing them separately. So without further ado, here's what we have in store for today. At 11:15, I will talk about my recent problem with straight friends. Don't hate them, they can't help being straighties. At 11:20, I will talk about my journey to becoming non-binary. At 11:25, I shall be talking about the problems that face trans people today. At 11:30, we will talk about the so-called immigration problem. At 11:35, I'm going to rant about cliched phrases I hate. And then, at 11:40, I'm going to wind everything up with a poem. Okay, so a couple of months back, this horrible thing happened. And the worst thing is, it kind of destroyed me, but it happened on social media. And that meant I had to deal with people at work who wanted to comment about it, and one friend who I considered as an ally, and what they said really hurt. Okay, but part of that was my fault, because I don't realise that straight people, well, they don't have the gay experience, they don't have that life experience, so they don't understand it. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's talk about the horrible thing. But to explain what happened, I have to talk about a friend of mine, Kate Harris, who I used to know as Katie Bush. No, not about Katie Bush. That's the pop star. This is a different person. But basically, before I talk about that though, I want anyone who knows her, who might be friends with her on Facebook, to let her know that this video is happening. Not because I'm trying to be vindictive, but because I don't talk behind people's backs. I don't like that. I've got something to say. She's blocked me, so I can't say that, so please tell her. It's actually quite painful to talk about. Kate was an old childhood friend who I admit I used to have a crush on. We've been Facebook friends for years, and we often used to mess around with things on Facebook. I think it all started when she posted a comment about J.K. Rowling and J.K. Rowling's opinions of In Man, Khalif, the athlete. I just gave a few facts. Fact 1. The Russian body that did the tests on Khalif have been disbanded due to malpractice and negligible behaviour. Fact 2. I pointed out that they asked to disclose the test to the Olympic Committee and never did, and the Olympic Committee found no reason to test Khalif, who hadn't failed any tests in the past, and P.S. also wasn't the most successful boxer in the past. She'd lost many matches. Katie explained that she had an ex-partner who had been physically abusive, and I did sympathise, but I did also explain that Khalif was born a woman, and if she had more testosterone, which wasn't proven, it could be something like intersex, which is legal, still makes her legally a woman. People get confused by the term intersex. That used to be called hermaphrodite. This was changed as it was scientifically inaccurate description. I believe Katie believed it was just another term for trans people, and I was making excuses. I wasn't. The problem is, basic biology tells us that there are 2 chromosomes, X and Y and X and X. But advanced biology has proven that, as with all nature, nothing is simple. You are seeing on the screen right now the 8 different types of intersex. The majority of physicists can explain this better than I. I basically thought that Katie thought that I was talking about trans people and thought I couldn't be reached because I was a trans person, so she just didn't bother. I wish she had tried, because I could have explained myself, but explained I wasn't talking about trans people. Intersex is not trans people. But anyway, let's move on to the incident itself. I posted this post about this person, I can't remember if it was a woman or not, but they were being transphobic. A J.K. Rowling post, and I was just taking the piss out of them, and they turned around to me and said, "Listen, young lady," and I thought, "Hey, young lady," and I posted it because I thought that was hilarious, because come on, me being called young lady, fucking hilarious. But posted it on Facebook, thought it was funny, but I got this message. Morgan, you have to realise that everyone has different opinions, and you should accept them. You don't see me talking about being straight all over Facebook. Just live and enjoy your life. I'm paraphrasing that because I deleted the message because I thought that was disgusting. Because I don't even know why I was breaking anybody's opinions. What opinion did I break? I was just literally laughing at someone saying, "You see what I mean?" Weird. But anyway, even if I was trying to even if it was about another person's opinion, which it wasn't, you can have your own opinion. I don't have to accept them. I don't have to accept any opinion. That's not the way it works. But I think she thought I was talking about J.K. Rowling because J.K. Rowling was mentioned in the thing. I just want to set the record straight with the J.K. Rowling thing. Basically, she spent years abusing trans people. She spent a fortune trying to change laws which are going to affect trans people and intersex people. More on that later. And I shouldn't be talking about queer things because, I'm sorry, but at the moment, case in point, I was in a pub. There's a bloke sitting right next to me, and he literally went on about dirty queer freaks for 10 minutes and how they should change the human rights bill to stop the evil trans from taking over. I'm hearing that whilst I'm sitting having a beer, just minding my own business. So yeah, I'm going to talk about these things. I'm sorry. So to say I don't talk about my straight life, That just shows that straight people really do not know how much they basically control the narrative. Now, I'm not being funny, but everything you talk about is your straight life. Got a few examples here, hold on. Talk about your kids, that's your straight life. Talk about a celebrity you fancy, that's straight life. Talk about a life experience where it affected and how that affected your straight life. Well, there you go. It's all, everything is straight, you see. But to say that I can't talk about my problems, can't talk about my things that bother me because you don't want to hear it because you're straight, basically that's like saying, this is the straight world, you shut up. We've accepted you, deal with it. That's what it is actually saying if you think about it logically. I don't think that's what she meant though. Imagine someone saying, oh, my Asian friend just posted a picture of their wedding. That's not my culture. How dare they celebrate their wedding on Facebook? Stupid, isn't it? Especially if it's your friend. Doesn't you more say, oh, that was a nice wedding? You know what I mean? You probably think I'm using a false comparison, but I just see it as, we accept you live, we accept you exist, now please be quiet over there. And no, I'm not going to be quiet over there. If you accept I exist, you accept that I have always been who I am, outspoken. Always have been, always will be. I sent a message to her asking her to delete the video. Otherwise, I'd say things I'd regret. I wasn't threatening her. I was just saying I'd say things as I regret because you're my friend and I don't want to get involved in that. That's basically what I meant. But she took it as a threat and she blocked me. I was kind of like, oh shit. So I sent a video explaining myself, and I don't think it was bad. I basically said this thing I just said then. Your straight life, you say you don't talk about being straight, but you talk about your kids, and that's all I said. And I basically told her I didn't want anything to do with her anymore. I thought it was all over, but no. I had a distinct unpleasant experience of being contacted by Michael Howes. I have since found out from a friend, Aaron Fielder, that Kate and Mike are in a relationship and she knew what he was doing. Now, both him and Kate harassed Aaron thinking it was me. I met Aaron 3 times in my life. They're just someone who thought Michael was my weird stalker because Michael was my weird stalker. Michael sent over 100 messages to all of my posts on Facebook, each one more disturbing than the next. They included telling me that I was mean to Katie, I was a mental case, I was evil. They also talked about my sex life and suggested that I put resistors up my bottom. Yes, the man was deranged. First I laughed at him, but he didn't go away, so I told him I'd sent Katie a video explaining it all. His reaction was that I threatened children by saying, you having children is a straight life. Interesting. I'd said about Katie's kids on Facebook, talk about being straight, that's it. Well anyway, after that he sent me a death threat, claiming he knew where I lived. I sent this video message, I got really angry, I told him to leave me alone and back off, and he then turned around and said I was stressing him out. I just didn't want anything to do with him. I thought it was all over when Aaron sent me a message and told me otherwise. As far as I was concerned, I'd gone through the ringer and I'd done absolutely nothing wrong. My friend called me a hypocrite. He knows who he is. Good mate of mine actually. And I don't think he was being an arsehole. I just don't think he saw it right, you see. Because he pointed out that there was no difference between what I said to him, to Katie, and to another friend, Jackie. Now Jackie talked to me and she said, oh, I see what's happening. Myself, I understand. Myself and my son, we have differences of opinion, and we eventually understand each other, and blah blah blah. We get to know each other. I think we all just saw that as, because I said, yeah, that's fine, Yeah, that's right. I think Will was saying, isn't that what Kate's doing? Because I don't think Will could understand that. No, it's not what Kate was doing at all. And Kate was not listening to the gay side. She had a disagreement, but she was literally going, you don't talk about your gay life, which, no. And I could try to explain, no, that's not what Kate was doing. And I told him about the damages and the bad shit was happened in the LGBT community. And I said, look, and I explained everything I just basically explained there. And then he said something which kind of shocked me. It was like, Steve, Morgan, you didn't come out till you were in your mid-20s. You probably weren't, you were never beaten up for being gay. I was. But you didn't come out till your mid-20s, so you didn't really suffer that much, did you? I was like flabbergasted. I was shocked. I was like, pardon? And then I walked away because I was so angry. But then afterwards I thought, no, he's not being an arsehole. He genuinely thinks that because he doesn't have my life experiences. So that's why this next part of the video is explaining my life experiences. So where do I start this? Probably at the beginning. I can't remember the exact moment I realised that I wasn't male of gender, but I do remember the first time I remembered when I was being bisexual. I was at junior school, and there was this boy. His name was Pip Jenkins, and what he used to do is he used to run around and kiss all the other boys. But he didn't like that. As far as I'm concerned, though, he wasn't gay, not at all. I just think he had ADHD, and he was 9 years old, and let's face it, he didn't understand what consent was. He just thought it was funny. He had a wicked sense of humour, made him laugh. So anyway, after Pip started doing that, all the kids turned on him because obviously they were angry with him. They were kids, they didn't really understand. They just started calling him queer and puffter and gay boy. And Pip kind of didn't like that. 9 years old, come on. He decided he wasn't going to do that anymore, and he said, I'm no longer gay. And one boy, Aaron, just went, once you're gay, you're always gay. And I had this thought. 9-year-old boy had this thought. That's not true. You can like both. Wow. I mean, that's really profound, isn't it? That's amazingly profound. Now, thinking about when I can pinpoint my gender, I'm not too sure, as I said. I used to play Barbies and teddy bears with my sister and lots of games with girls. I used to hang with girls and play games with girls. In my teenage years, I could quote every single word of a Rocky Horror Picture Show and thought Frank was the most beautiful thing ever. I wanted to be like him. What else? Well, my mum's 90 a couple of times. Oh, and the Halloween party. Now, that's one. So, Brand Community Centre had this Halloween party, and all the boys had to go as monsters and all the girls had to go as witches. At the time, I wasn't that bothered. I kind of like just, although it was a bit annoying because the monster was just a mask, where the witch's costume looked a lot better. That's one of my first thoughts. But the thing what really got me, and I'll never forget this as a child, we got separated, the boys and the girls, for some reason, I don't know why. But the boys went outside and we had to run around screaming, pretending to be monsters. It was quite cold. And the girls all got to sit indoors with cups with drinks and talk about spells and magic potions they were going to make. That sounded so much more fun. Like gossiping about potions and spells instead of just going, ah! That was one of the things where I saw it and I realised I wasn't like other boys. There were quite a lot of things, and I could go on and on and on, but I can assure you there were loads. But the question you're probably asking yourself, this 9-year-old young boy who had a feminine side and didn't come out to his 20s, knew he was bisexual, had a feminine side and didn't come out to his 20s. Why was that? That's what you're probably asking yourself. Section 28, bitch! So let me explain to those people who don't know what Section 28 is. Back in the 80s, there was a moral panic about gay people, and most of it was misunderstandings and other nonsense. But people were worried about children being converted into being gay, just like they are now worried about trans people converting children. So a law was passed called Section 28. It was a very confusing law, so weirdly worded that no one really understood it, and a lot of people in authority panicked and interpreted it in many ways. It basically said the promotion of homosexuality from a local authority was prohibited, but the explanation of what a promotion was never explained. As a teen, if you even mentioned homosexuality in the classroom, the teachers would just clam up, which wasn't helpful at all for a young boy who just wanted to understand the way he was. Think about this, right? I would hear from members of my family complaining about lesbians in the street kissing, saying, I don't mind them doing it. I don't mind them being lesbians, but they shouldn't do it in public because it could corrupt the children. This is what I was hearing. I was also hearing from the television that the age of consent was older for gay people because it would stop children, young people being converted by perverts and when AIDS arrived. And we're told that it was being spread by the gays and the perverts who were confused because they didn't know if they were gay or not and were sleeping with both. My first touching of biphobia, and not my last. But imagine what that does to this young boy. I thought I was ill. I thought I was a pervert. So sex obsessed that I would fuck anything that moves. Worse still, I couldn't be trusted around children. This is what I believe from what was being told, you see. I was growing up a monster. I was going to become this monster. So what did I do? I hid my sexuality until I was in my mid-20s because I was terrified of what I would become. I did not want to be this bisexual monster who was a danger to children. You have no idea how confusing that was. Homosexuality was starting to appear on television screens, in soap operas and stuff, which shows you how confusing this Section 28 thing was, because you're supposed to promote it and not promote it, but and it was, as long as they don't do intimate kissing, but then they started to intimate kiss and people would talk about it. And when I talk about it, I mean pub conversations where everyone made fun of gay people and constantly said how bad it was. And I, for my credit, because I wanted to fit in, joined them. Did I say credit? I meant shame. Worse was a friend of mine, Simon Kenny, who used to tell me he had this idea of getting all the gays, putting them on a boat, sending them out to sea and blowing the boat up. He thought this was hilarious. He was always a little suspicious of me. I now realise it was probably his gaydar. But another thing he once told me is he used to go into gay bars and he used to chat the gay men up, take them into an alleyway and beat the shit out of them. That was his confession. The bizarrest thing was we went to a pub once and there were these two guys in there who were effeminate and he started getting really angry. He started saying, oh, they're gay, they shouldn't be in here, they've got their own pubs, how dare they come into our pub? Yeah, their own pubs, which he admitted to going into and beating the shit out of people. These pubs aren't elite pervert clubs. They're just places where we go because we want to feel safe from arseholes like him. Got to say though, he never beat me up for being effeminate. That's somebody else. I actually once got beaten up because I looked gay. That's why I spent most of my life dressing slovenly. People go, why do you dress like that? Why do you always look slobbish? Because gays were supposed to be pristine. So if I looked slobby, no one would know I was gay. That was one of the things I did quite a lot. Also, if you think this is something small, these are some serious things which happened in my life. I once wore a choker because I liked the look of it. It was a bit effeminate. It was something I really enjoyed wearing, and I got told by 3 different people at work, take it off, you look stupid, people will think you're gay. I got told off for wearing white socks because that apparently was gay. You're constantly being told, and then people thought I was straight, so they're constantly telling straight people, you mustn't do this because you look gay, you mustn't do that because you look gay, you mustn't do this because you look gay. I was gay. So that's another reason when I hear people say, oh, you don't hear me about going on about being straight, we don't push it down your face. Yes, you fucking do. Even when I came out, the controlling still happened, because people would say to me, oh, we haven't got a problem with you being gay. It's the overly effeminate camp ones, the ones that are obviously fake and push it down your face that we don't like. Not obviously fake at all. I was overly camp. I loved a band called Kiss because the lead singer has a star on his face and red makeup. I wanted to be like that. I wore Hawaiian shirts a lot, and people go, why do you wear Hawaiian shirts for? Because it was the closest thing to a dress I felt safe wearing. I had a friend of mine who had moobs, and I was jealous of him because I had nothing there. I was out of a closet and I should have been exploring who I genuinely was, but seriously, I still had one foot back in that closet, and I was saying, oh no, I don't like those people like that, because I didn't want to offend anyone. I was throwing people under the bus to protect myself. Makes me laugh when I hear people say, the world is different now though, gay isn't a stigma anymore. But all that means is the people who toe the line are the media pets, and those who don't fit the cookie cutter image are the creepy pervert people who we hate. Trans people get this whole, we do empathise, we really do, that you have to risk your life and feel unsafe sometimes from events which we are pretending aren't happening, but you can't use a place that you feel safe because the perverts will take advantage. We're not saying you're a pervert, well, not to your face. You're one of the good ones. You're one of the good ones. I listen to that constantly. The turning point came at a team brief when I was at work. A manager, we had to watch a video about pride, and then the manager turns around and says, so now we've got to talk about the Alphabet Brigade. I had to sit there and listen to such wonderful things such as, well, I don't understand what it's got to do with us. They got what they wanted, got what we wanted, the right to exist because we fucking shouted for it. This whole bullshit that we are the establishment and we get what we want, it's bollocks. It took us 60 years just to be able to get married. So yes, we need bloody pride. The conversation and the jokes in that room that day made me feel sick to my stomach. That's when I started to befriend the queer community, no longer just using gay people for sex. I started to see the truth, and when one of his basically closet case straighty decided to once again say that her peace of mind, I just don't like it, I just don't like it in my face. I gave her a piece of my mind. Finally, I was free to wear colourful clothes. I was Morgan and no longer Stephen. I'm non-binary, trans and proud. But I can understand why my good friend thinks that I'm jumping on a bandwagon. He doesn't see all the pieces of the puzzle. How could he? I only hope this helps him understand. I worry because the media, both left and right, aren't helping people like me. Nor is the conspiracy-led social media bullshit a lot of people I know blindly follow. Which leads us to our next topic.
It's time. What do you want?
Okay, so before I start, here is my answer to all of the trans debates. Make all toilets unisex. Just do away with urinals. Have a security guard in the sink area and a camera which doesn't intrude on the toilets themselves. Everyone's safe. Sports. Make them fair by creating a handicap systems and becoming unisex. There are hundreds of women who can beat men. My friend Sarah Austin could kick my ass. This would make sports fair across the board because, yes, men are stronger than women, but not all men. Just like women are weaker than men, but not all women. It's time to make it fair. Prisons. Paedophiles and rapists are kept in isolation at all times. Duh. Right. If your point that all this is logistically impossible due to either money or time, then you are the one who needs to work on how to achieve that. I've created a fair system, and it's not my fault, but it's hard to implement. Surely it's better to debate that than rather say, sorry, trans people, there's a small amount of perverts out there, they're going to punish you for them, and also for the mad situations that we've made up in our minds. The reason I say this is because there are inevitable questions I get when talking about trans issues. And so this is a disclaimer that trans people are not sexually turned on by wearing women's clothes, and dysphoria is a condition that affects trans women. It's not the reason why trans women exist. So anybody who says that mentally ill people can't dictate an argument, you will be ignored as it means nothing. But if you have any questions other than that, please put them to me in the comments. So, the gay community has been fighting for rights for a long time. One of our biggest successes was the right to have gay marriages. This sadly came at a cost because it angered a great power. Yep. No, it's not the Catholic Church, nor the Church of England, who might have had their noses put out of joint. But let's face it, they've learned to adapt over the years. No, it was the wonderful American Christians. The country that developed Have a Nice Day and other forms of fake friendliness, of course, would have the most unchristian Christians of them all. These guys had a meeting where it was stated that in order to take down the LGBT community, we would have to go for the smallest and the weakest first. Despite what people think, the trans community are very small. I have met over 30 or 40 in Portsmouth, but I know hundreds of gays and lesbians in the same city. They started using words such as trans ideology and the trans lobby. I've been in the community for over 5 years, have done much public speaking, and am helping organise events for trans charities. And still, I haven't had dealings with this mythical lobby. There is a lot of unfounded nonsense about how we are trying to influence children prone to fads and into becoming trans. Well, that's just nonsense. They said about the gays in the 80s, the same nonsense that almost had me killing myself as a teen. But this, of course, creates a panic. And now they have basically made it hard for young people to receive puberty blockers because they are a dangerous experimental drug with awful side effects. This is what the media tells you. This is what it doesn't say. 1. The drug has been around for 30 years. The side effects are no more dangerous than any medication. Once stop taking puberty blockers, puberty will return. And my personal favourite is that the system is so complicated, instead of turning people left and right into trans people, as they tell you, I know people who have been waiting for transition for decades. It's one of the reasons I'm happy to be non-binary, and it's not full trans, because oh my God, I couldn't handle that. But the truth is, but the truth can't get in the way of a panic, and the government put forward the cast review, ran by a child psychologist who had no experience with trans people whatsoever and decided to ignore 90% of the experts. And even though they could only find a small amount of detransitioners that didn't even represent the 1% of trans people who are themselves are 1% of the population. I might be wrong about that, but I think I might be wrong about this, sorry. I think they've interviewed about 11. This review was made harder for trans people to receive their medication. Oh, and by the way, cold turkey is actually dangerous. And now, thanks to J.K. Rowling putting forward money from the sales of her game, thanks allies who bought that game, really helpful, cheers guys, cunts. We have had a new court ruling which doesn't even bother to hear from the trans people it was ruling against. Democracy in action! But what does the ruling mean? Basically, it's section 28. Once again, it's confusing as fuck. Basically, the High Court ruling states there are only two sexes. I mean, the fact that intersex legally recognised makes that contradictory as hell, but hey, it doesn't even mention gender, nor explain what it means legally to top it all. What it means legally, sorry. To top it all, the EHRC, a committee that is run by affiliates of Rowling and Cass, sent out guidelines that are insane. These are guidelines from an actual government company, ready? One states that trans men who are born women but transition to men, now can't use the men's toilets as they are women, but also can't use the women's toilets because they make women uncomfortable because they look like men. So where do they piss? The disabled? But trans women who look as much like women and don't feel safe in the men's will also have to use the disabled. Meanwhile, the disabled people who need the space will have to wait for if a small group of trans people decide they want the toilet all at once. I mean, imagine you're in a wheelchair and there's a trans man in the loo and a trans woman behind you. It's only a small queue, but you've also got to prepare yourself for that toilet, which, let's face it, is difficult. I mean, I'm seeing an accident waiting to happen. Anyway, the thing I don't get is how you can have 1% can be any trouble. I mean, they've been going to that you for years without any huge incidents. No matter what those memes point out, they've all been either disproven or exaggerated. Now, if trans people are dominating and destroying women's sports, then how come women's sports is the best it's ever been and filled with female champions who aren't trans? It's almost as if something else is happening. Talk to the men who are anti-trans. Ask them if they believe in toxic masculinity. Ask them if they think women should make decisions about their own bodies. Ask them if they hear what they think when they hear the word feminist. These are the people who made "How do you define a woman?" a political question. They are the ones happy about that court ruling. Because they want to say women and men are different and women exist to make babies. That's already happening in America. To say Britain is different to America is a lie. It's happening here and it's not a good thing. It's a worrying time to be alive. And if you're a minority at that moment, I mean, terrible. A worrying time to be a woman and a worrying time to be a different altogether. Which leads me to my next topic. Okay, so I'm going to make this one quick. The immigration issue is a non-issue. The only reason we have a larger amount of illegal immigrants is because we are no longer protected by the Northern Ireland Agreement. That is what Johnson rushed through, and that is what we agreed to. This is what his backers wanted. The same backers who are pushing the trans issue. Almost as if they are creating a problem on purpose to push an agenda. Now I'm going to say this quick. The refugees are not given benefits. They don't benefit from anything other than a law that gives them 40 quid a week. And they're put in tiny, dirty hotels. And I've been to some of those hotels, they're not nice. Yes, there are criminals amongst them. Rapists, drug dealers, the whole enchilada. But when you take a statistic that 1 in 5 people commit crime, well, no shit, Sherlock. I'm listening to a bunch of idiots saying that patriotism is banned in this country. The same guys who put up flags during the World Cup and then take them down as soon as they lose. The same idiots who say that putting up pride flags to support gay people is a form of racism, but haven't spoken up to our flag being used, to our flag, the British flag, to being used to intimidate people. So you think you're not being racist by protesting? So ask me this, why have you been protesting? Well, you only protested once or twice outside civic offices, but hundreds of times outside hotels. Because what you are doing isn't protesting, it's intimidation. Intimidating families and children. It's utter scum. And deep down you know this. And if you think they have a point or some other excuse, you're as bad as them. Here's what I want you all to understand. If you're just listening to this, trying to think of a question to trip me up, then you basically are just accepting the horrors that are happening, and I'm not interested. Don't agree with me, then walk away, because I'm too busy trying to make a difference to get involved with your nonsense. Which leads me to the last part of the show. Oh no, actually, before the last part of the show, let's just go on about something, shall we? Something that grinds my gears, and that's all the cliched crap I have to hear. I am sick of cliched bollocks. But you've got to remember, blah, 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 blah. I said this because I heard everybody say it. Think for your fucking selves. It's not fucking hard. It's not difficult to think for yourselves. And come on, people, I'm sick of it. I'm sick to death of having to listen to all this bullshit constantly my whole fucking life. Enough now. Think about what I've said today. Listen to what I have been talking about. Listen to all the points, because I made the show before and no one fucking listened. They just laughed at this bit when I was getting angry. And I was just getting angry for fun. But this time I'm getting angry because I want people to understand what I'm fucking saying. I want you all to understand that this world is a fucking mess right now, and we're all helpless and hopeless and attacking each other. Oh, it's the trans, it's the gays, it's the blacks, it's the Asians. Oh, but they're all bad. Oh, it's the criminals. They all exist because of fucking opportunists at the top. For fuck's sake, we have the internet. We have the power to bring them down, but they're turning it into a 1984 situation. And then you all go, oh, but you're using words we've never heard. Oh, you're using words you've never heard. And that's what they were talking about in 1984. No, it fucking wasn't. They were talking about destroying words, but we are using a word you've never heard. Because guess what? The way the words are being done is different now. Because back in the day, it was to get into a dictionary, you had to hear the word 7 times on 7 different occasions in 7 different places. We have the internet. So if you hear a word 7 times in 7 places in 7 different occasions, that could be just a fucking week. But but everything is still going up, and everything is still better than it was before with language. And if you listen to me, but what you're worried about is the fact that you think language is being used by these loony lefties to take you down. These loony lefties haven't had real power for fucking years. Because Keir Starmer's not a fucking loony lefty, he's a fucking mid-centrist cunt. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of having to point out the obvious all the fucking time. Wake up! Smell the coffee, because I am bored shitless of it. And now it's time for our another section, which is the local poem. If you want to support me, then hold me up and make sure the devil doesn't bite. If you want to show love, then roll up your sleeves and join me in this fight. If you just want to say you have no problem with me, then just walk away. But don't be surprised when you return. I'm not there that day. If you want to mock me, then go ahead, but don't expect my respect. And when the leopard eats your face, I didn't shuffle the deck. There's a war brewing and sides to be chosen. Are you going to pick mine? Or are you filled with lame excuses? But I've heard all the time. I'm not trying to control or force the narrative. Your opinion is yours to choose. But I've made up my mind. I've chosen my side, and I'll fight whether I win or I lose. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe, like, it costs nothing. Ring the bell for notifications. This has been a Morgan Stevens experience. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been a little different. Thank you very much and good night.